If you are a first-time applicant staring at the world of Singapore business grants and feeling slightly lost, this video is your map. There is real money set aside to help local businesses grow, upgrade, train their people, and expand overseas. But the landscape can look like an alphabet soup of scheme names and portals, and it is easy to freeze before you even begin. So in the next few minutes, we are going to zoom out and give you the shape of the whole thing. The main types of support, the general journey from idea to claim, and the mindset that makes applications succeed, so you can take your first steps with confidence. One important note before we start. This channel is educational only. We are not a government agency. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by Go Business Enterprise Singapore or any government body, and nothing here is official advice. Scheme names, criteria, and support levels change over time. So we will keep this to the big picture and always point you to the official source, gobusiness.gov.sg, to confirm the current details for your situation before you rely on any of it. The grant landscape. Let us get the lay of the land at a high level and without quoting any fixed figures, because those change. Singapore's business support tends to cluster around a few common needs. If you want to adopt a ready-made, pre-approved digital solution, something off the shelf to improve productivity, that is the space the Productivity Solutions Grant, or PSG, is generally known for, and it tends to be the most straightforward, standardized route. If you are taking on a larger, more custom project, transforming part of your business, building new capabilities, or innovating in a way that needs a tailored proposal, that is the territory the Enterprise Development Grant, or EDG, is generally associated with, and it is usually more involved. If your ambition is to grow overseas, to take your business into new markets, the Market Readiness Assistance Grant, or MRA, is the one commonly linked to that goal. And separately, there is support oriented around training and hiring, helping you upskill your team or bring on new capability. You do not need to memorize all of this. You just need to recognize roughly which family your need belongs to, because that is where the search begins. Start with the need. Here is the single most useful shift in thinking for a first-timer. Start with your need, not with a scheme. Beginners often do it backwards. They hear a grant name, get excited, and then go looking for a way to spend the money to fit it. That approach leads to weak, artificial applications. The stronger approach is to get clear on what your business genuinely needs to do next. Are you trying to work more efficiently, build something new, train your people, or reach customers abroad? Once you can state the real project in a sentence or two, the right kind of support usually becomes obvious because the schemes are organized around exactly those needs. So before you touch a portal, write down the problem you are solving and the outcome you want in plain words. That single sentence is the foundation of everything that follows, and it is what keeps your eventual application feeling genuine, rather than reverse engineered to chase a grant. Find the right scheme. With your need in hand, you can find a scheme that fits it, and this is where you go to the official source rather than guessing. The Go Business website and the relevant agency pages list the available schemes and describe what each is meant for. Match your stated need to the family it belongs to, a pre-approved solution, a larger custom project, going overseas, or training and hiring, and then read the specific scheme page in full. Resist the urge to stretch your project to fit a scheme it was not designed for, because assessors can tell, and a forced fit is a weak application. If two schemes seem plausible, read both carefully, because they usually differ in what they fund, how involved the process is, and who is eligible. The goal at this stage is simply to land on the one scheme whose purpose genuinely matches what you are trying to do, so that everything you prepare afterwards points in a single coherent direction. Check eligibility. Before you invest time in preparing an application, check that you are actually eligible, because there is no sense building a case for a scheme you cannot use. Eligibility rules vary from grant to grant and change over time, so we are not going to state any as fixed fact here, but they commonly touch on things like whether your business is registered and operating in Singapore, your local shareholding, the size of your company, and sometimes the state of your finances. The official scheme page is where these conditions are spelled out, and it is worth reading them slowly and honestly against your own situation before you go further. If you meet them, good, you can proceed with confidence. If you do not, it is far better to know now than after you have poured effort into an application that was never going to qualify. And if a condition is ambiguous for your particular case, that is exactly the kind of thing to confirm on the official source rather than assume. CorpPass and documents. Once you have your scheme and you know you are eligible, sort out the practical foundations, and the first of these quietly stops more applications than anything else. Your login. Most Singapore grant portals are accessed with CorpPass, your company's corporate digital identity, and the person applying needs to be authorized to transact for grants. Get that sorted early, well before any deadline, because access problems can cost you days. Alongside it, gather the documents that almost every grant leans on: your current ACRA company details, recent financial statements, and later your vendor quotations and a clear project plan. We have a whole separate video on the document checklist, but the headline for a first-timer is simple: the paperwork is predictable, and getting it ready in advance turns the application from a scramble into a calm, quick task. Sort the login, tidy the records, and you have removed the most common reasons a first application stalls before it even gets going. Apply before you start. Now the step that ties the whole journey together, and the one first-timers most often get wrong: timing. For most schemes, you get your quotations, you submit your application, and crucially, you wait for approval before you sign anything, pay any deposit, or begin the work. The support is meant to help you decide to do a project, not to reimburse one you have already started, so beginning early can knock your cost out of eligibility entirely, which is a heartbreaking way to lose funding over sequence alone. So the order runs like this: identify the need, find and confirm the scheme, check eligibility, sort your CorpPass and documents, get proper quotes, apply, and only once you are approved do you commit and carry out the work. Then, after the project is delivered and paid for according to the rules, you make your claim with the matching invoices and evidence. Keep the sequence clean and you protect your funding. Rush ahead of it and no amount of good paperwork can rescue the cost afterwards. The right mindset. Underneath all the steps sits a mindset that separates applications that succeed from ones that struggle. Grants are not free money to be spent on a wish list. They are public funds set aside to co-fund specific credible projects that deliver the outcomes a scheme was created to encourage. So the more concrete and genuine your project, the stronger your position. A vague plan to modernize the business is weak. A specific project to adopt a named solution or build a defined capability with clear costs and a clear expected result is strong. Remember too that grants co-fund, they pay a portion and you pay the rest. So you need a real project you would want to do anyway, not one invented purely to capture a subsidy. If you approach grants as a way to help fund something you genuinely need and can describe precisely, you are thinking exactly the way the schemes intend, and that mindset shows through in every part of a good application. As with everything on this channel, the official source has the final word, and for a first-timer this habit is worth building from day one. Start on the official channel rather than a forum or an old article, because scheme names, eligibility, support levels, and processes are all set officially and change over time. The Business Grants portal on gobusiness.gov.sg is where many schemes are applied for, and the relevant agency pages, such as Enterprise Singapore, describe the individual grants in detail. Whenever you read something about a grant, including on this channel, treat it as orientation and then confirm the specifics for your situation on the official page before you act. We cannot approve you, we cannot guarantee any grant, and the real requirements genuinely differ from scheme to scheme, so the live details always come from the official source. Building that reflex early will serve you across every application you ever make. Quick recap, let us pull it together. Singapore's business support clusters around a few needs: adopting a pre-approved solution, running a larger custom project, going overseas, and training or hiring, associated broadly with schemes like PSG, EDG, and MRA, among others. Start from your genuine need rather than a scheme name. Find and confirm the scheme that truly fits. Check eligibility honestly. Sort your CorpPass and documents early. Get proper quotes and apply before you start the work, then claim after it is done. Approach it all with the right mindset. Grants co-fund specific credible projects, not wish lists. None of this guarantees you anything, And because scheme names, criteria, and support levels are set officially and change over time, the live details always come from gobusiness.gov.sg and the relevant agency pages, never from memory. A closing reminder, remember the spirit of this channel. Our job is to hand the first-time applicants a clear map so the world of Singapore grants stops feeling like an intimidating maze and starts feeling like a sequence of sensible steps you can actually take. But the official sources always have the final word. Nothing here is a promise that you qualify for any scheme. We are not affiliated with any government agency, and we cannot approve, secure, or guarantee any grant for you because criteria genuinely differ by scheme and change over time. When you are ready, write down your real need, find the scheme that fits it on gobusiness.gov.sg, check the eligibility for your situation, get your CorpPass and documents in order, and apply before you begin the work. If this map gave you the confidence to take your first step, subscribe for more plain English Singapore grant explainers, and we will keep turning these schemes into plain English one step at a time.